Yoon Bom finally remembered who Jae-Kyu was, and while Jae-Kyu was worried about her, Yoon Bom instead invited Jae-Kyu to look for Sejin. Yoon Bom recognized the man who had been with Sejin, and Jae-Kyu immediately chased after him. It turned out that the man with Sejin was Ijun, and during this time, Ijun had been looking for Jaegu for 10 years. But Jaegu didn't ask about Ijun at all. Instead, he asked why Ijun brought a high school girl who had run away. Jaegu wanted to know what the relationship between Ijun and Sejin was. Ijun didn't have a chance to answer, but Yunbom had already grabbed his collar. As a teacher, Yumbon wanted to know where Sejin was now, and she didn't care about the relationship between Ijun and Jaegyu. Then Ijun introduced himself as Sejin's older brother. Ijun explained that Sejin hadn't run away from home, so Yunbom didn't need to worry. Since Sejin's escape was monitored by her older brother, and their parents also knew where Sejin was currently. Hearing this, Sejin was upset because her escape plan had been discovered by his parents. Hang Yul apologized to his uncle and teacher for misunderstanding Sejin. He was just afraid because Sejin was going out with a man, and he didn't find out first about the man, who turned out to be her brother. But Yunbom felt Hang Yul had good intentions, and Jegyu understood his nephew's anxiety. Sejin was very upset with Hang Yul for telling her homeroom teacher. Ijun became curious about the relationship between Jegyu and Yunbom, and Sejin was surprised that her brother knew her teacher's name. But Ijun hid this from Sejin, only curious about Jaegyu's life, and that made Sejin even more curious about the actual relationship between her brother and Hangyul's uncle. In the past, when they were still at high school, Jaegyu brought baby Hangyul into class. The teacher felt that Jaegyu could cause Ijun to fail college because he couldn't study well, because Jaegyu's nephew was fussy. But Jaegyu couldn't leave Hangyul at home because there was no one to look after him. Then, Ijun holding baby Hangyul, and Hangyul immediately stopped crying. It turned out that Ijun also had a baby at home, so he knew how to calm a crying baby. When he opened the locker, Jaegu found some money there. They started out as friends, but since then, they ended up as strangers. Instead of going to the main road, Jaegu stopped in front of a hotel. Jaegu explained that they had been on a long journey. Jaegu wasn't really tired, but Hangyul was. A son who usually ate and slept regularly was eating instant noodles and staying up late tonight, so he needed to take a shower and get some sleep. It turned out that all the rooms were full at the hotel, and Yunbom invited Jaegyu to go home. But there was a family room available, and Jaegyu immediately took it. But Jaegyu objected because he wasn't their family, and Jaegyu thought school was family, so they were all family. Yunbom felt Jaegyu didn't understand the literal meaning of the phrase, but Jaegyu thought Yunbom was afraid to share a room because she would do something with Jaegyu, because if she didn't do it, their goal was simply only to sleep, and Yunbom finally agreed to sleep in the family room with Jaegyu and his nephew. Seeing the flowers on the bed, Yunbom immediately ran to remove them. Yunbom felt it was a family room, but it wasn't family friendly, and when Jaegyu and Yunbom asked to take a shower, they became awkward. Then Yunbom told Hangyul to take a shower first. Yunbom was confused by Jaegyu's sudden exercise, and Jaegyu thought it was out of habit. Then Jaegyu asked if Yunbom was busy, and Yunbom felt there was nothing to do in a hotel room. But when Jaegyu asked her to climb on his back so he would have some weight to exercise with, of course Yunbom refused. Then Jaegyu told Yunbom to hold his legs, and he would do sit-ups. Yunbom complied, and when Jaegyu did the sit-ups, their faces became very close and they stared at each other. Then they wake up and become embarrassed. Yunbom told Jaegyu to exercise outside because the hotel had a swimming pool and fitness center. While Jaegyu was on the treadmill, he saw a boy running alone near the pool. Meanwhile, Yunbom heard Jaegyu's phone ringing, and it was from the woman calling him. Yunbom was curious about who the woman was, thinking she might be Jaegyu's ex-girlfriend. When the woman called again, Yunbom brought his phone to Jaegyu to answer it. At that moment, Yunbom panicked when she saw a boy fall into the pool, and at the same time, Jaegyu jumped into the pool to save the boy. But the boy was scared when he saw Jaegyu, who looked like a shark about to attack him. The boy swam over, and Jaegyu managed to catch him. When he saw his mother, the boy cried and told her that Jaegyu was scary. Without thinking, the mother immediately slapped him for scaring her son. Seeing the slap, Yunbom remembered the time when she was slapped by her student's guardian's wife who accused her of having an affair with her husband. Although it was untrue, his wife refused to listen to Yunbom's explanation and humiliated her in front of her students. Yunbom was confused when Jae-Kyu didn't defend himself and let the misunderstanding continue. Jae-Kyu felt it was unnecessary because her son was fine, but Yunbom still felt it was wrong because once it was buried, it would be difficult to bring it up later. The son's mother eventually saw the CCTV footage and apologized to Jae-Kyu for the misunderstanding. But Jae-Kyu felt she should apologize to Yunbom because she had to check the CCTV footage. Yunbom couldn't rest, and the mother apologized to Yunbom. Jae-Kyu told Hang-yul to put his phone down and go to sleep, but suddenly Sejin called, and Hang-yul went outside to answer the phone. Yunbom had actually asked Hang-yul not to go out, but Hang-yul had already left the room. They both became awkward because they were sleeping together in the same room. Suddenly, Jae-kyu said she was beautiful, bright, sparkling, and beautiful like a star. Hearing this, Yunbom was very surprised, but it turned out Jae-kyu was talking about the cool tower lights in Seoul. Yunbom seemed a little disappointed, but she covered it up by saying good night. Jae-kyu thought Yunbom probably didn't remember him yet, and Yunbom would remember him someday. Meanwhile, Yunbom thought maybe she should pretend not to remember. Ijun told Nanhi that he had found her daughter, and Nanhi was very happy to hear the surprise. It turns out Nanhi's daughter is Yoon Bom, and Ijun seems to have fallen in love with Yoon Bom. Nani asks Ijun to tell her where her daughter is, and Ijun only tells her that her daughter lives in the same area as the person Ijun is looking for. It turns out Nanhi thinks Jae-kyu is Ijun's enemy who ran off with Ijun's money. But Ijun doesn't tell her where Yunbom is. Ijun thinks Yunbom must have a reason for leaving her family, and if Ijun gets involved, Yunbom might get even more hurt. Jae-kyu suddenly appears near Yunbom and says that half of it is missing. It turns out that one of Yunbom's earphones are in Jae-kyu's ears, and Yunbom is confused as to how they ended up with Jae-kyu. Jae-kyu whispers loudly that he found them when they went to Seoul. Hearing Jae-kyu's loud shout, Yunbom becomes embarrassed and takes the earphones. It turns out Hyesuk heard that Yunbom went to Seoul with Jae-kyu, and Yunbom explained that there was a reason behind it. Yunbom also told her that Jae-kyu wasn't the person people thought he was. Yunbom wasn't defending him, but rather clearing up a misunderstanding. That Jae-kyu went to Seoul to help Hang-yul's friend. Jae-kyu was someone who was willing to be embarrassed after saving a son. Hearing this, Hyesuk felt that Yoon Bom had fallen in love with Jae-kyu after a few days together. Hyesuk then advised her to stay away from Jae-kyu because she had witnessed an incident downtown. So Hyesuk asked Yoon Bom to think about what Jae-kyu was usually like. Everything about Hang-yul could make Jae-kyu go berserk and cause trouble. Jae-kyu was so attentive and kind to Hang-yul, even though Jae-kyu should have been busy dating. He was actually taking care of Hang-yul, and the teachers assumed that Hang-yul was Jae-kyu's son. It turned out that the other day, in downtown, Hyesuk saw a broad-shouldered man with a dragon tattoo on his arm. A man like Jae-kyu was walking with a woman. He faced her, and when they discussed children, the woman cried sobbingly. With Jae-kyu's good looks, they thought he could attract many women. Even though Hang-yul's mother had passed away, they had to check his family records to be sure. Yunbom remembered that Jae-kyu had received a call from that woman, and it made Yunbom suspicious. Yunbom thought maybe the woman on the phone at the hotel was the same one Hyesuk saw, but if Hang-yul was his son, why did he claim to be his nephew? Yunbom was confused when she saw Jae-kyu standing in the rain. Suddenly, Jae-kyu tried to bend the iron in the drain, and Yunbom was confused as to why Jae-kyu was so strong every night. Yunbom approached him, curious about what Jae-kyu was doing. Yunbom thought Jae-kyu shouldn't damage the drain because it was city property. And when he felt it was open enough, Jae-kyu put his hand in, and there was a puppy stuck in the drain. It turned out to be the dog Jae-kyu had found before. At that time, people thought he was burying something, and it turned out to be the puppy he had saved. Finally, Yunbom learned the truth, and it turned out the puppy had an injured leg. Then the two of them took the puppy to the vet. Jae-kyu came to the animal clinic shirtless because he had used his shirt to cover the puppy. Seeing his muscular build, the clinic attendant felt lucky to be working at the night shift. Yoon Bom was confused as to why Jae-Kyu had taken off his shirt to dry the puppy, and Jae-Kyu didn't seem to care about his shirt. Jae-Kyu then told the nurse to treat the puppy, but the doctor was assisting with the birthing of a cow, so the nurse asked them to wait. And while Jae-Kyu was filling out the form, Yoon Bom noticed a scar on Jae-Kyu's back. It turned out Jae-Kyu also had a scar on his arm, which was why he had a fake tattoo. Suddenly, the doctor arrived and announced that Jae-Kyu was Hang-Yul's father. Hearing this, Yoon Bom told Jae-Kyu to explain that he was Hang-Yul's uncle, but Jae-Kyu confirmed it, saying that he was Hang-Yul's father. Yoon Bom was shocked because the rumor was true, and Jae-Kyu was confused by it. It turned out the doctor had said it based on the form she saw that the puppy was named Hang-Yul, with his father named Jae-Kyu and his mother named Yoon Bom. Hearing this, Yoon Bom was confused as to why Jae-Kyu named his adopted dog after his nephew, and Jae-Kyu felt like he only thought of that name when he was asked to fill out the form. Jae-Kyu thought if Yoon Bom didn't agree with the name Hang-Yul, they could change it to Bomsik or other. Jae-Kyu suddenly called Yoon Bom darling, surprising Yoon Bom. It turned out it was because Yoon Bom was Bomsik's mother, and they were a couple with a puppy. The shop owner also considered Yoon Bom as Jae-Kyu's wife, and Yoon Bom just kept quiet, letting the shop owner misunderstand them. Yoon Bom then asked if Jae-Kyu was busy tomorrow night. It was because Yoon Bom was going to invite Jae-Kyu for drinks alone. Jae-Kyu remembered when Yoon Bom asked Jae-Kyu not to cover his scar, because scars weren't always bad. And before meeting with Yoon Bom, for some reason, his heart was beating really fast. When he saw Yoon Bom looking beautiful in a dress, Jae-Kyu felt like Yoon Bom was trying really hard. Not only that, Yoon Bom attentively fed Jae-Kyu. She also put a cloth on Jae-Kyu's shirt to protect him from the food that fell. Jae-Kyu became flustered, and the two of them toasted. Yoon Bom informed him that the environmental club had chosen Jae-Kyu's workplace for the club visit. Yoon Bom thought there was no other reason to go there. It was because Jae-Kyu was kind and trustworthy. Seeing Yoon Bom's special treatment, Jae-Kyu felt something, and when Jae-Kyu wanted to confirm his feelings, before Jae-Kyu could finish asking, Yoon Bom already answered that Jae-Kyu was right, and Jae-Kyu was very happy to hear those words come out of Yoon Bom's mouth. See you in next episode. Bye bye.